It's a 1714 map showing the location of Paradise, or the Garden of Eden, which is just here where the Tigris and Euphrates meet up. Close by is the Tower of Babel. In fact, it's just where all the fighting's going on now, really. Oh, this is an English map. The land of Cuss, the land of Nod.
The land of Nod?
Yeah.
I thought Nod was a People's Republic.
They're Norman Lindsay propaganda pamphlets from World War One. They were done up as those envelopes. So they fold up like that. They were meant to be put in the mail. That's still got someone's address and the postmarks and everything on it. And then you open it up and you see Nurse Cavell being executed. And then you've got the Lusitania being sunk. And then you've got
Norman Lindsay's drawings.
Yeah, Norman Lindsay. And then in the middle of it,
And
another.
the call of
They're all
humanity.
different. He did several of them. We've got 3 of them.
Where do you get this stuff? Where do you find it?
Well, you know, book dealers mainly. These Norman Lindsay ones, one of them was bought from a book dealer, the others were bought at auction. Australian book auctions.
And how much would one of those Norman Lindsay envelopes?
Well, they
About?
cost about 1,000 or so, but the one we bought from the dealer was actually cheaper than that. So
And what
they
sort
vary.
of acquisitions budget do you have?
Well, it's pretty good, you know, I'm not complaining.
So it must be a huge labour getting all this stuff into order. Are these all
Yeah.
kids' books, are they?
No, these are yellowbacks. They were books that were sold mainly at railway bookstalls in the second half of the 19th century and up till about World War One. They're beautiful things. They're mostly
So they're novels.
Yeah, mostly novels, and they're mostly sort of popular novels. But you know, Dickens and Trollope and all these people were in there. Meredith even Henry James and Jane Austen.
Ouida.
So, yeah, Ouida. Well, she was a very popular novelist, and Mrs. Braddon. That's a pretty typical one.
Dead Men's Shoes.
Yeah, well, they're part
Yellowbacks.
of that sort of, yeah, yellowbacks. That's what they're called because that's the sort of binding. Oh, these are the best ones. The Mrs. Brown. These ones are all written in a Cockney dialect, so they can be a bit hard to get into. But once you get into them, they're actually quite easy to read. I have read a couple of them purely because she wrote a couple about the Tichborne claimant. Have you ever come across him? He was a butcher from Wagga who pretended to be the heir to the Tichborne fortune back in England.
Oh, yes.
It was a notorious case in the 1870s and 80s. There were these court cases where he tried to claim his inheritance, but he was patently a fake. But the trouble was the mother, who didn't want to believe that the son was actually dead, just said, yes, it's him, which, you know, why would she say that? But it's a great story. They're all about topical things of the day. Mrs. Brown on the Shah's visit. And spelling bees. They were very popular in the period, so... Oh, here's the Tichborne case. See, there's the guy. And he was enormously fat, whereas the real person was quite skinny. And the real person was fluent in French, for example, because he'd spent most of his younger years in France. But of course, this guy didn't know any French at all. The whole thing was just beyond belief.
Where was he from?
Well, he's from Wagga. Arthur Orton, a butcher from Wagga.